I thought that these were some great things to introduce you guys. First, what I talked about before we go into anything, first, what I talked about this earlier thing I talked about this assassination. Is this true?
Oh, well, that did appear that we were dead, but we wasn't. We were just doing other things, and we slipped through the net, you might say. And of course, all the reports came out that we were dead, and there's lots of people very happy about that. But it's going to take a lot more than that to kill me, really.
Because when you talk about times they tried.
When the time they tried to kill us, yeah.
Yeah, but the previous time.
Look, I've had many assassination attempts in my lifetime, but there's a simple truth here. If you want to find out who Christ is today, all you've got to do is find the most royal man alive, and you've got it. Now, the royal tribe is Judah. That's not the religion, Judaism. It's got nothing to do with it. That's a load of crap. What it is genetic. So if you look up in any library in North America or in England, anywhere speaking English, you'll find Burke's Peerage, and you'll find Marshall, and you'll find Golightly, which is my mother and father. That descends down through various lines of kings, through my grandmother on the Irish line. It goes back to the line of kings there. That's on the Marshall side. Her name was Melanie. And then on the other side, my grandfather, Francis Golightly, his wife was a Habsburg. And that goes back to 846 era AD, where the line was diverted over to England. And it was there, of course, before William the Conqueror arrived. And the same with the Marshall lines. It comes through the descendants of D'Avenal, which is a royal line. Now, if you try and find this kind of thing out now, you have to go out and do it with paper, because the internet has blocked all connections to the Golightly heritage and the Habsburg through my grandmother, and the Marshall line through to King William, the line of Scotland, etc. So it's very, very difficult. In a way, it's a compliment, because they're packing the shits and they're running away. Now, what we have before us in the world is your water is poisoned, your food is poisoned, the air is poisoned, your skies are poisoned, all your growing fields are poisoned. It is the most extraordinary thing. How America never went to a civil war when they first found out about this has got me back. But people are dumbed down because of fluoride. That affects your pineal gland. That gives you the spirituality, if you like. So is this not what is expected to occur in the very last days? Now, what most people don't realise, and what they can do in a very few minutes, is go to your sink, fill it with water, and let the water drain out in North America, and you'll find it's going the wrong direction. That's because the Catholic Church added 375 days in the last 2,000 years. That's preceding that was Rome, of course. And they've altered time. We have been shifted forward in time. We are actually in 2012 now. And the crossover date, ironically, for the church who set up Christmas Day, that was the date that we crossed over. So it's a very, very interesting phenomenon. But how do you get through to all the people? It's only the likes of you, Donnie, that will remotely want to talk about it. And no mainstream newspaper, radio or anything like that will talk to me, although I have snuck on a few times, but now I'm in the total blackout in Australia. What I did in the past was have someone else call in, and then I'd take over the phone and talk to these talkback people. And I managed to get on, talk to quite a few people before it was blocked. I realised what I was doing. So it's all in the Great Pyramid, it's in the measurements of the Earth. I've done many uploads on Google Earth, which is totally inaccurate. If you're going to get accurate measurements, you have to go to any of the software that you can get for running GPS equipment, like Magellan is very, very good. And I've got about 8 programs of different cross-references I can do with different Magellan and other programs to show you the accuracy of it. So the defining moment for the world, if they were all awake and watching, and I'm sure you the beast was the 25th of January 1944. At that moment, a solar eclipse occurred along the 25-degree latitude, and that's north, slightly below the Great Pyramid. And all eclipses you measure from the 25-degree latitude, either north or the south. And from that particular one on the 25th of January 1944, the distance to the crib that I was sitting in was 8,888.8 miles. Now, why is that so? Well, 888 is the Greek gematria for the word Iisos, which is Jesus. Now, my genetics is so extraordinarily profound that no super cray computer could doubt what I'm telling the world. Only the fools that listen don't listen. This is the point. So you've got my brother, for example. He was illegitimate, and he's now dead. He was 8.88 years older than I. So on January the 11th, 1944, when I was born, the sunrise to moonrise was 888 minutes. And then I went to Canada as a young man. I became a father to Tracy Lee in Port Alberni, Canada. It's in British Columbia, on the west coast. And the sunrise to sunset for that town was 888 minutes. She was conceived on the 29th of July, 280 days earlier. I was there. And Jupiter, which is 88,800 miles across, it's gas, hydrogen, it was above Port Alberni for 888 minutes. So this is the line of logic, pure math, that is so mathematically profoundly accurate and demonstrable. All the registries of Canada and Australia have all these dates of births of my relatives. And I was 8,880 days old on that date. This is the 4th of May, 1968. So what you have then is the 888 number repeating itself. So my third wife, she is Mary Magdalene. Absolute 100% proof of that as well. Where she was born, the house she grew up in, was 3,134 nautical miles from the South Pole. So you look that up in the concordance, and it's Maranatha, the judgment of Christ. When I met her, she had inherited a house from her mother, who lived at, and an evil woman she was. She lived on 666 Main Road, Eltham, in Melbourne. It's almost laughable. The home that she inherited was just a tiny 2-bedroom flat, and I completely rebuilt it. And the distance to the South Pole is 5813 kilometres, and that is the height of the finished pyramid. Now, I noticed you mentioned the pyramid numbers before, and I'll just briefly touch on that. If you take the base 36524.24 pyramid inches, which is almost identical to the British inch today, and was the British inch in the time of Elizabeth I, and they went and changed it, and we have a reason why. Because the Great Pyramid, by that time, even Isaac Newton had worked on it, come to conclude that it was the Pyramid of Christ. So King James himself, he was inclined to believe that same thing. He has written on it. Now, you have a displacement factor of the Great Pyramid. What that means is you lay the footings out and you say, oh, to help with this, we'll make it a little bit smaller. So they reduced it by 286.1. The number 2861 in Hebrew is espousals, male. It's found in Solomon, the book of Solomon, 3:11. And then you have the distance reducing the 36524.24 pyramid base by the 286.1. And that number, which you mentioned before, you said subtract. You said divide, no, it's subtract. What that gives you is the same word, espousal, but the female espousal. And that's in Jeremiah 2:2. You add the 3:11 and the 2:2 together and you get 3:33. So we have a code starting to form here. Now, as you said correctly, Solomon married the two tribes descended from Lot through the incest relationship with these two daughters. The Moabites and the Ammonites come out of those two daughters. And of course they are the abomination that worshipped Moloch. So he married all these women. There were 700 wives he married and 300 concubines. And he received 666 talents of gold per year from each of these. There's your 666. Today, if you scan your packet of cigarettes, which is also laced with poisons to kill you, it's got a barcode, a central point. Sometimes it's sticking down a little lower, and then the two end, that's either end of the barcode. These are sixes. I have seen it where they do number them as a 6, but it becomes blatantly obvious that it is a 666 barcode. It's going to buy and sell it out. So I come along, say, oh, look, it's easy. All you got to do is find the key of the house of David, which is Isaiah 22:22. I weigh 222 bloody pounds. I'm 74 inches tall, and that's the gematria for Jesus in English. It's also Joshua, which is the Hebrew name for Jesus in Hebrew. And that also has an English gematria of 74. Where I'm speaking to you right now, the distance to where I was born, and that's the one that's 8,888.8 miles, this is in Sydney. Where I'm sitting on the east coast up in Queensland at the moment, the number is 973 kilometres. That's how many times the word Jesus is found in 942 verses. The 942 number is the same as the amount of days that I was in that house after being born, taken from my birthday to when we moved, 942 days. So this is the kind of thing I go on about. It is so blatantly obvious. We get into Mary Magdalene. She has a daughter. She's born on the 20th of December in 1979. She is 777 days younger than my youngest daughter, which is 2.127 years. So you look up in Hebrew, 2127, it's Zia, found in 1 Chronicles 5:13. Then you look at her, this is the stepdaughter, difference in age between her and my eldest daughter, which is 11.626 years. That's the width of the antechamber, 116.26 cubic inches. I married her mother when I was 1162.6 weeks old, which is 22.28 years. That's the height of the highest mountain in Australia in metres. The mother, Mary Magdalene, who is today Michelle Nye, she is 1162.6 days younger than I. So what we've done is opened up the passage into the King's Chamber. We then measure into the King's Chamber to the far wall, and it gives you a number, and I'll just be approximate, 537, and then you've got the displacement factor, 286.1, which you mentioned before. You add those two together. Then you go to the ceiling, you add that on, it's roughly 230 inches. And that gives you a number. You multiply by a lunation. And a lunation is 29.53052 days. That gives you 31101, and that is the Julian day I was born on. It's also how many verses there are in the Bible. It goes on and on and on. You then go into 1 Chronicles 5:13, where the number 2127 is, and right beside it is 3275. That is the name Jachan in Hebrew. That is the age Michelle was, Mary Magdalene, when she gave birth to her daughter. So we have these two numbers, 700,000 words, only found once in the entire Bible. Both are solitary numbers, and they're side by side. In the same verse is the names Michelle, my name, Michael, etc., which is her name. And we add all of the 7 names up. 7 names total, 31101, the same number as the King's Chamber times a lunation, and all those numbers I gave you before, reveal the Julian day I was born on and how many verses there are in the Bible. It goes on and on and on. So you say, okay, fine. We divide the 31101 because there's 7 names to see what the average is, and it's 4443. That's how many times the word God is found in 3877 verses. And the hospital I was born in is 3877 nautical miles to the South Pole. Hello? Is anyone listening? I've been talking about this for years and years. All I've got is abuse. Absolutely. There is more people on my case in Australia ASIO agents who are assigned to me. This ASIO is like the CIA, well, this is the CIA, really, of Australia. And they come and see me. We believe. So they're off the job, and then they put another 2 disbelievers on. I've had so many people that would jump ship when they find out what I'm talking about. Just what I've said today is enough to convince anybody who is intelligent. So this is what it's all about. Still there? This is embarrassing. He's gone.
I heard some messages.
Yeah,
pop up
I've kept hearing the Skype message all day.
Oh,
Ages,
yeah.
that was a long time ago. That's what I was saying. It is.